Well, good Tuesday evening to you. I don't know that it's that great, though. Welcome, everybody, to a live edition of a Dodgers Territory postgame show. That is Clint Pasillas. I am Alana Rizzo. And, Clint, that game had a little bit of everything. The way that it started, the Dodgers putting up a 3-spot early, giving Dustin May a cushion. The Cubs answer back, and they end up in extra innings losing the ball game to the Northsiders. What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have a good day when you put together your second worst pitching performance of the year as a team. Dustin May didn't necessarily have it. Wrigley Field doing its best Coors Field impression, where a lot of bad things can happen. Can we just stop playing the Cubs, please? I'm so tired of this team.
Yeah, I'm over it.
But
I mean,
hey,
Tommy Edman wants to play the Cubs every day. I mean, he
For
has
real,
had
for real.
half of his home runs against Chicago. But yes, I'm with you, though. I'm sick of playing this team. Again, Dodgers pitching, May goes 5 innings, gives up 10 hits, though, Clint. That's a lot of hits. 7 earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 Ks. Had a lot of bad luck. You guys find, he found way too much of the plate there. His arm angle looked a little bit off. I was talking to my husband who, full transparency, was a catcher in the big leagues. And we were just having a conversation about how he just didn't look right. His arm slot looked a little bit off. It's just, I don't know. It's not good. He said, his arm slot looked a little bit horizontal. It's hard for him to get his hand on the top of the baseball, create any sort of depth on his pitches. And I thought the offense picked him up, but it wasn't enough today.
No, I mean, it should have been enough. It's the first time the Dodgers have scored 10 runs all season, something we've been asking for the last couple of days, couple of weeks. Hey, when is this team going to finally break out? They did that. That's usually going to be enough, but not enough today when you spot the bad guys, 7. Alex Vesia not crisp in the 8th inning. Tanner Scott unable to hold the lead and the save in the 9th, but really it comes down to Dustin May. Yeah, he didn't look right. He didn't have his usual stuff. He didn't have a crisp. He didn't have command. He didn't have crisp control of the two-seamer. He left a lot of things middle of the plate. Was very, very hittable tonight. And I think we'll hear from him later in the game or later after the game here when he speaks to media. Same with Dave Roberts. We're just going to hear, hey, he didn't have it. And he's not going to have it every single game. But this was a bad time to have a bad game, knowing there is a bullpen game looming for this team. And now this team needs to kind of scramble.
And so many guys in the pen had to get up today and pitch because it just wasn't an efficient outing from Dustin May. So we've used a lot of bullpen arms, and tomorrow's supposed to be a bullpen day. So that doesn't bode well for this club. There's a lot of things that went wrong in this. We can't just place it all on Dustin May.
Oh, for sure.
You look at the offense in terms of this, with the exception of, Tommy Edman and Will Smith. Andy Pajas had a nice day too, but you look at, Freddie Freeman 1 for 5. He did have the 2-run double. Muncy with the walk. Everyone's wanting to send Max Muncy to the moon, but let's be honest. He has reached base in 8 of his last 9 games. He's 0 for 3, but he is getting the walks. And once Max Muncy starts to get the walks, I do feel like his game is starting to come around a little bit. Mookie's not looking great. Shohei hitting about 200 over the last week. So there's a lot of finger pointing that can be had. But if you get up on a 3-0 lead in the first inning, you should be able to hold that. And then I'm thinking, okay, the bullpen for the Cubs is going to implode again, and they did. But so did ours.
It was one of those games where I felt like Dustin was doing his best Landon Knack impression, where he couldn't, hold a good first inning lead the Dodgers put up there. Tommy Edman, I'm telling you, I'm calling him Tommy Offense now, because he, as the Dodgers go, he is the guy who goes. And whenever we do one of these post games, Tommy likes to go out there and put together good games for RBI night tonight. Last Tuesday, 4-hit night, almost got that 5th hit. But Will Smith, a nice game, like you mentioned, 2 for 4 in there, homer, double. Andy Pajes doing some good things, 2 for 3. Hosing a runner out at home, by the way, 97.7 on the throw from left field. That was pretty cool. If we can find something positive, ideally, there's not a runner in that situation, in that position, but it is what it is. But yeah, you can't give up that many runs. and you can't rely on everybody to be, hitting. Kike Hernandez awful with the bat today and has struggled to open the season. Muncy still struggling to get some hits. Kyle Tucker robs him in right field there, and all in all, like I says in the screen, just a frustrating loss.
Yeah, it is a frustrating loss. You mentioned Kyle Tucker robbing Muncy of the hit, but he also had the 2-run shot against Alex Vesia. I mean, Kyle Tucker's been everything that the Cubs have wanted him to be. And then, by the way, the Astros. I just called them the Astros. I didn't mean to. That was a Freudian slip there.
I got a button for that. There it is.
Probably wishing Kyle Tucker was still with their club. But it's funny if you look at the comments of our folks here, which we appreciate you guys joining us on this live post-game show. What a shit show from Kenny Chung. Scott has a case of the April shakes from OCJ. Ugly, ugly game from Camille. No, they suck from Francisco. They are supposed to be dominant, but they are not. So, people are flipping out right now. People are upset.
Yeah, I mean, these are the games. These are the kind of games, honestly, you want to do a post game on. You got a blown save from your closer. Your starting pitcher struggled. The offense was good, but there's still some big concerns in there. These are the fun ones to do. Appreciate people hanging out with us, rocking with us here on this Tuesday night while the Lakers are also playing a postseason game. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Steve asking, sincere question: what do you do with Tanner Scott? And I think you got to get him a bigger lead. I think that they had some opportunities there to add a little insurance or keep some insurance by Vesia not giving up that 2-run spot in the bottom of the 8th, but it happens. That's baseball.
But think about how much our position has changed, though. When they signed Tanner Scott, it was like, yes, that's awesome. I would hope that they would get Tanner Scott away from, the Padres or whatever, and the Marlins when he was still with the Marlins. But now you're saying, what are we going to do with Tanner Scott? Come on, guys. I think it's just a little bit of a broad stroke approach there. I think Tanner's going to be fine. Some people were saying that Yates should have come back out, should have been a 4-out save for Yates and that type of situation. Yeah. This type of stuff happens. This is not a game that the Dodgers should have lost. Period.
I have one for you here. EB talking to somebody in the chat saying this was a gut punch of a loss. A loss like this can F up team chemistry. You're somebody who spent a lot of time in the clubhouse, major league clubhouses, and this Dodgers clubhouse is I don't feel like this is one of those, oh no, like how are we ever going to get back on track kind of losses. This is just, I borrowed from Manny Machado recently. I'll do it again. That's just baseball. It's just baseball. This is one of those games where the other team
this is not a situation where the guys are going to point fingers at one another. I mean, I guarantee you they're in that clubhouse right now talking about how this is a game that they beat themselves. They lost this game themselves. It wasn't as if, not to disrespect the Cubs at all. But, this is a game in which the Dodgers beat themselves, not that the Cubs beat them. But they got to put it together tomorrow somehow, because with a bullpen game tomorrow, this is a game that you needed to win, especially with, the way that Dustin May, we were just praising Dustin May yesterday, just not even 24 hours ago, we were praising Dustin May. So, you can't want to send him to the moon because he had a bad outing today. He was just not hitting his spots. He just didn't have it today, period.
Yeah, you don't go out there and have it every single game, and it's cold, it's windy, it's different at Wrigley Field. The ballpark's 500 years old and all this, and this is, he's staying in a rotation for the first time in a very long while. He hasn't been in the rotation for at least the last 2 years, hasn't been in there consistently for, while being injured for the majority of the last 4 years. It takes time to kind of get your feet under you, get that consistency.
But he did. His first 3 or 4 outings were really freaking good.
Yeah.
So
and
I feel like
think it was less about that and more about just the surroundings, I think. Because obviously Imanaga wasn't great himself in this game. I'm going to put a little bit of the onus on Wrigley Field for this.
You think so? Oh, you're blaming the park. You're blaming the friendly confines.
I
don't. We can't have these types of excuses though. Like Steve in the chat saying it's cold, it's windy. What were the excuses in Washington? It's humid in Texas. It's hot.
Dodgers have to be perfect.
You can't. You can't make these excuses. Like, these are the teams that you're supposed to win these games. And granted, they still have a decent record, but you can't let a game in which you have a lead early on and then you come back and regain the lead
Yeah.
You can't let
In
this
a
type
big
of
way, by
game
the way.
go to the
Yeah.
go to the wayside. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, okay, fine, we're up 10-7. We've got this. Well, I guess we don't.
Yeah, again, not a great game. It's a frustrating game. As I said, I do not feel like this is one of those ones they're going to really stay up all night worrying about. They're going to worry more about, hey, what do they have left for Wednesday where they are going to go to a bullpen game. But we can come back and talk about that in a second. But first, I think we should listen to you and our buddy Scott Braun about a product we love very much,
I
Spot
do.
and Tango. Let's do it.
Alana, we love our pups dearly, and we want to shout out Spot and Tango for taking care of our pups with their unkibble. They are a game changer.
A game changer is right, Scott. And you know anything about me, you know that I love dogs and I want them to live forever. My own rescue pup, Bentley, is my passion, and she loves Spot and Tango. Thank goodness. It's 100% human grade ingredients, so you know exactly what your dog is getting. Oftentimes in other forms of dog food, you have no idea what's in it. It's a bunch of fillers. She loves it. It helps keep her healthy. It's perfectly customized for her age, her breed, her weight, and her level of activity. Makes me happy to give it to her.
Hey, and you can upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango on Kibble. For a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/foul. Use code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. That is spotandtango.com/foul. Code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. One more time for the pups out there. Code FOUL at spotandtango.com/foul.
That's right. The puppies can get that Spot and Tango by scanning that QR code, using that promo code. I will tell you, Alana, my dogs here loved that stuff. I need to get some more Spot and Tango. Hit up your boy. But going into the break, we mentioned, tomorrow you got a ball game. You got to try to win. You can't lose this series here in Chicago. You can't get swept. And we're going to a bullpen game where there are some guys. Hey, Noah, what is his name? Noah Davis. He should be fine.
Davis.
He only threw one pitch.
I mean, he threw one pitch. He's good. His arm is fresh.
He'll be fine.
I mean, one pitch,
fine.
and that was it. I was like, my God. Okay, well, that was like I barely sat. I barely knew who the hell was coming into the game, and then the game was over. I was like, oh, okay, that went well.
At that point, I imagine, Dave very much is like, hey, if we make it through this, cool. If not, I'm okay ending the game here. And I, especially after we talked to him, had wine with him, broke bread, all this kind of stuff. I feel confident in Dave's decision to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away. But Jack Dreyer will be available. Evan Phillips, Ben Kasparius will be available. Some guys certainly can go back to back, but I personally wouldn't be surprised to potentially see him move. Maybe Luis Garcia getting a DFA and a couple of guys that are available. Wroblewski in a short burst role, not as a starter. Matt Sauer. Do you think the Dodgers try to pull off a move here, or do they kind of just let it eat with what they have and
no, I think the one thing about the Dodgers is they're incredibly good at maneuvering the system and maneuvering guys up and down. It's like I've always thought that they were really good with the elevator between AAA and the big league level, and they'll figure out a way, however they need to manage the chess pieces and the chess moves. That's exactly what they're going to do. And if you take one thing away from the way that they won last year, that's how they did it. They piecemealed it together in times that they needed to. And again, I think that this year we had stronger pitching than we did in the season last year. It has not proven as such at the beginning of this season so far. But again, we expected this team to be perfect, and obviously that is unrealistic. But I would love to see guys. We had Sasaki with the quality start. We had Yamamoto that pitched really well. Obviously, Glasnow had to come out of his start early. I want our starters to go deep into the games so we can just completely reset the bullpen and let the guys pitch the innings in which they're supposed to pitch.
Yeah, no, 100% on that. And, luckily, again, you have another day off on Thursday after that. It's Yamamoto Day, so you always feel good when Yama's on the bump. Like you said, Roki keeps getting better. And I do believe the Dodgers return home on Friday to face the lowly Pirates. So things, hopefully, knock on desk, start getting back on track a little bit. I know,
but we shouldn't have to like wait for these lowly teams to come in.
That's
I mean,
fair.
This is a team that should
fair.
be dominating. It's like, yes, you should win. You should beat the Rockies. You should be winning all. I mean, honestly, we should be winning every single series. Just because of the talent that this club has.
No, 100%. But team's not firing on all cylinders right now. And one guy we need to talk a little bit about is our guy Marcus Lynn Betts. He can't even call him Mookie right now. Marcus is struggling. He is down in it.
One for his last 22, right? I mean,
One for his last 22.
That's a struggle bus.
Breaking.
Nope.
Not good at all. He's playing a solid defense at shortstop, and sure, defense wins championships and all that kind of stuff. But he's got to do something a little more consistent offensively out of that 2-hole. Just he's finding ways to get on base as well. He big walk in the 7th inning as part of that. As part of that 5-run inning. But you need something out of him. You need something out of Shohei as well. You mentioned earlier, 200 batting 200 over the last week or so. Top of the lineup, we talked about the MV3. They're kind of not doing a whole lot right now when the bottom of the lineup isn't doing a whole lot right now. And I say this coming off, it's the first time they put up 10 runs in a game. Took a lot of things to go right, including 2 errors from the Cubs' rookie third baseman to get to that point. But I hate coming back every time to the offense.
So what do you do? I mean, what do you do? They put up 10 runs, but it's like, do you switch up the lineup? Like, I mean, or do you let it eat? Like, I'm not touching the top of the lineup. I'm leaving it the way it is.
I mean, Pages is starting to come on a little bit. Something we've talked about on my channel a couple of times is the idea of I understand Tommy offense is doing really good things in that 5-hole, but putting either Edman or Muncy down in that 9-hole, hopefully getting somebody on base more consistently for Shohei at the top of the lineup, a second leadoff batter, if you will. And if Muncy's earning his walks, I think that does open a little bit more of an opportunity. You move Pages up, he has some RBI opportunities. To the question, I don't know if there's anything in particular you do. And we also both know Dave hates doing like change for the sake of change.
Well, and not for nothing. I mean, whether he has guys on base or not, Shohei's not getting on base himself. So
fair.
It doesn't really
that is fair.
Doesn't really make a difference.
Maybe
it doesn't make a difference if guys are on base or not. Like he's not even getting on base.
He needs to see friends out there so he could try to drive them in. Having friends out on the ducks in the pond, friends, whatever, that makes baseball more fun or something like that. But We've had some fun here. I did want to ask you something different, just to completely steamroll the show here, because they showed on SportsCenter LA, they had some of the boys go out to Lou Malnati's to do deep dish. And if we're in Chicago, we got to talk about deep dish pizza, because I don't want to think about that game anymore. I want to know. Just that's thought.
I hate Chicago style pizza. I hate deep dish pizza. It's basically just bread. I'm a New York style pizza girl.
It's a lasagna.
I like thin pizza. Right, it is. I like thin pizza. I like New York style pizza. Detroit pizza, actually. Nobody wants to give Detroit any sort of credit when it comes to pizza, but Detroit pizza, I'll take New York first, then Detroit, then Chicago. I do not like deep dish pizza. I mean, pizza, I'm gonna crush it, but it's my third favorite of all the pizzas. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm about the same there. I don't like to view it as pizza. I like to view it as, hey, boys, let's go out and try to nurse off this drunkenness with a very, very cheesy,
trying to soak up all the alcohol.
This cheesy, hearty abomination. Yes. Shout out Lou Malnati, sponsor your boy. Giordano, sponsor your boy. Foul Territory loves you for sure. And we like money. Cha-ching. I have a button for that. But anyways, I derailed the show enough. What else have you got before we get out of here?
I would rather have tacos and tamales over pizza any day. So there you have it. No, honestly, this was just a shitty game. Whatever. If you put up 10 runs, you shouldn't lose by 1. You know what I mean? Like if you put up 10 runs, you shouldn't lose because they put up 11. That's just, it is what it is. But that's it. And you better win this game tomorrow and you move forward. And that's all she wrote.
That's about it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed us being here, an opportunity to rant with all of us. That makes baseball more fun. Nothing brings people together quite like Dodger baseball, as my buddy. And bitching, really, to be honest. But my boy Doug says that one. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you listen on the podcast side of things, rate, review, subscribe to the show, all that kind of stuff. Follow Alana on Twitter. Don't follow her home. That would be wrong. That would be weird. But we appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but just so you guys know, Clint and I, of course, will be back on Thursday. But I am also hosting Foul Territory, the big one, Foul, on Thursday and Friday, and then Clint and I will be back on Thursday together for another episode of Dodgers Territory. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll get them tomorrow. Go Dodgers.
Bye.